I think that Andrew Wilson from the Whatever podcast is a fraud, and I'm going to give you 3 reasons why. And the first of all, if you're a fan of his and you're going to disagree with anything I have to say here, drop something in the comments. Tell me what I'm missing. I've taken a few hours of his content, but I haven't taken it all in. So maybe I'm missing something. Maybe he's not the man he is presenting himself to be, or maybe I'm not seeing enough of his content to understand him. But let me give you the first reason. He punches below his belt. Okay? Where are the strong, successful, well-educated women? Where are they at on his show? Where is a corporate CEO? Where is the strong corporate executive woman? Where's the corporate attorney? Where's the 7-figure woman, intelligent, educated, on his show? Why is he not allowing these women to come and address him and speak to him and defend themselves? Why is he only talking to fellow academics, podcasters, and OnlyFans girls? He's talking to girls who are 10 to 15 years younger than him, who don't have his educational background, who don't have his debate skills. How's he able to set these up? Well, it's pretty simple. These women want to come on this podcast to gain attention for their OnlyFans accounts. So he farms that to bring women he knows he can defeat in a debate onto his show. He knows the arguments they're going to make. He knows what he's going to say. He doesn't expose himself to anything else. He hides behind women that he can easily defeat based on his debate skills and his educational background. But he doesn't expose himself to women who could go toe-to-toe with him, who are accomplished women. He doesn't have that on his show. The funny thing is these women wouldn't even come onto his show. He could invite them. They're going to laugh at him. They'll take in 5 minutes of his content and they'll see him for what he is, which is a man-child. Let's see here. Let me just go through some names here. Karen Lynch, CEO of CVS Health. Do you think she's going to come on and talk to this guy? Mary Barra, CEO of General Motors. Trisha Griffiths, CEO of Progressive Insurance. Do you think these women care what this guy's opinion is? Do you think that they wouldn't just take in 2 seconds of his content and be rolling on the floor laughing at this guy? He's not in their league. So he punches down to make himself look stronger. And that's a sign of insecurity. That's a sign of insecurity and an unwillingness to grow. He doesn't want to be exposed and actually challenge himself to different. So he stays in his world, in his bubble. He has conversations with podcasters and a very specific type of woman, and that's all he'll talk to. And like I said, serious people aren't going to talk to this guy anyway. Serious women are not going to get on his show and have a conversation with him. He doesn't live in a serious world. This is a message that people need to understand. Social media is not real. It's performative. He is a performer. You shouldn't prescribe or subscribe to his belief system because it's performative. It's not real. Okay? And I can prove it's not real. Stick around for reason number 2. I think he's a fraud. When he's faced with the force doctrine, he folds. He folds under. He doesn't apply his own logic to what he says he believes. Why? We all saw the Wes Watson confrontation, right? We all saw that. And when I watch this conflict, when I see the videos on this conflict, when I see the commentary on it, it's amazing. I hear compliments about Andrew Wilson and how he defeated this guy in debate with his rhetoric and his debating style and how much smarter he is than this fake alpha. That's fine. And you're probably right. And Wes Watson was probably in the wrong, but not according to Andrew Wilson's force doctrine. Why doesn't Andrew Wilson get up here and defend himself? Why doesn't he enforce his ideas? According to Andrew Wilson's belief system, if he can't enforce his ideals, if he can't physically defend his ideals, then he has to submit to Wes Watson. That's his ideology. The only reason he keeps talking, the only reason he has an opportunity to, quote, defeat Wes Watson in this conflict is because he's being protected by the societal norms that he claims women have to utilize. Wes Watson's 100% correct here. Look at Andrew Wilson. He looks like a bag of mashed potatoes. He doesn't have the ability to enforce his ideals, not against a man of average physical fitness with even the slightest bit of combat sport experience. He would fold like he goes to and talks about the fact that he carries, but that just underlines the fact that he doesn't understand anything about enforcing his ideals or using force. If you're fat and out of shape and you carry, it doesn't matter. When you're in a life or death situation and your heart is beating at 150 beats a minute and you're short of breath and you're out of shape, you're not going to be able to effectively utilize that weapon. Anybody can be a range warrior and talk about how good they are with their firearm in a non-combat experience, in a non-combative situation. But in the real world, his lack of physical prowess almost renders his handgun or whatever he's carrying pointless. So he doesn't have the ability to enforce his own ideals. It's another reason he stays in his world. If he believed in what he says he believes in, he would stand up here and he would back Wes Watson down, because that's how Wes Watson is physically dominating him in this space. And he's using the structure that he says women utilize in order to beat him rhetorically and talk around him. The last thing is he attempts to speak for men. Men aren't interested in successful women. Men don't care what women earn. What men? Who's he talking about? I'm a happily married man. I've been married over 20 years. My wife is very successful. I am incredibly proud of her. In fact, and here's where he really gets on my nerves. In fact, I am incredibly proud that that's the kind of woman that chose to be with me, as opposed to a submissive woman who needs a man to take care of her. I suppose anybody with any level of financial security and a dominant enough personality could win over a woman who's submissive and needs to be taken care of. It takes I feel that it is a matter of personal pride. It speaks to who I am as a person, that I'm able to have a strong, capable, independent woman choose to be with me, that we choose to be together. And that while I understand there are areas in our life where she should take the lead because she's better at things than I am. And she understands there are times when I should take the lead because there are things that I'm better than she's at. And that our relationship is cooperative and it is a partnership and we are building something together. I think that only a weak, insecure man who locks himself in a bubble, argues against opponents who are inferior to him, can't actually physically enforce his own ideals, even though physical force is his ideal. Only an insecure man of that stature, of that type, seeks out women who are seeking to be submissive, who are seeking a man to dominate and control them because of his insecurity. So for all those reasons, I think Andrew Wilson is a fraud. And I think a lot of this red pill type of manosphere content is doing a lot to damage relationships. And when a woman comes on his podcast and he says, what do you bring to the table? And she starts listing her personal accomplishments, he immediately dismisses those and says, men don't care about that. No, he doesn't care about that. Other men may care about that. Other men may go, I like the idea of a strong, independent, successful woman. Just because he doesn't mean he gets to speak for all men. What he does is he creates a list of, this is what a woman is supposed to bring to the table according to my worldview. So when I ask you what you bring to the table and what you bring to the table doesn't fit with my worldview, I dismiss that. And I say you don't bring anything to the table. So it's rhetorical, right? He should just say, do you bring any of these things to the table? Because this is all I value in a woman. You are submissive. I don't care about your intelligence or your success or the other things that you've accomplished in your life. None of that matters. Are you going to submit to me and blah, blah, blah? These are the things I care about. And he claims to speak for all men. And that is a disservice to men. Yes, you should value those things in a woman. And yes, they may want some of the old chivalry. He attacks women for this, for saying that a man should pay on the first date and a man should do this and a man should that. Yeah, a man should do some of those traditional things. I don't think any of those women expect a man to complete. I know that my wife doesn't. Most successful women don't expect a man to come in and provide for them and take care of them. There are going to be some gender traditional things that a woman expects. And I think there's going to be some traditional gender things that a man is going to expect. But by and large, modern relationships, new relationships are, and we have to grow with the times and live in the society that we're in, are cooperative relationships of two equal partners trying to build something together. And he doesn't have that belief system. And again, his conversation with Wes Watson, the fact that he only debates women that he knows he can dominate in these conversations is just proof that I don't really even think that he believes his belief system would stand up under any real scrutiny. So from that perspective, I think Andrew Wilson is a fraud. If you don't believe that, if I'm missing something, please let me know in the comments. If you like my content, please subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next video.